Hi, freshmen. So today we are going to do an instructional read aloud of Persuasive Letter Mentor Text number 1. So we're starting in on our Persuasive Letter writing unit. And so we need to look at examples because I don't know how to write something unless I look at examples. And I'm assuming that most of you are the exact same way. So these are all examples of previous students. They're all really good, all A, B papers. This one was an A paper. And so we're going to be kind of reading through it together. You have a copy. You're going to listen as I read through and talk you through this. And then you also have a copy of my annotations. By the end, your annotations should look exactly the same as my annotations. You're essentially just copying down what I tell you to write, and you're copying down my annotations so that you have one that's annotated the exact same way as mine. You have a really good example. And then as we move forward, you're going to start annotating these on your own. So what I would do is I would maybe take your window, your Chrome browser, and make 2 Chrome browsers and have my video over on one half and then have your text in Cami on the other half, so you can kind of annotate as we go along, and then you can just pause the video whenever you need to write things down. So we're going to be doing the following things for annotating. We're going to be highlighting in yellow the point, the claim, the thesis, the purpose statement, the why of why what are they writing the letter for? What's the why? Anything that's a quote sandwich stuff, we're going to highlight in orange. I didn't highlight the quotes in orange just because I wanted to set those aside, but I did highlight the citations and the prepping for quotes. Any analysis we're going to highlight in green, and then we're going to make comments in the margins. And you can see I've made a ton of comments in the margins for good writing techniques, the use of Aristotelian appeals, and then letter format stuff, because this is a letter. So the first thing that I noticed right off the top is they've included the date up here. That's proper letter format. They've also included the name and contact information of the person they're writing to. So this person's writing to Senator Cory Gardner, and this shows that they have done their research and they are actually writing to somebody who can actually do something about their problem. Instead of writing to Mr. Allen, they're writing to an actual person. So they have a real audience. And then they said, "Dear Mr. Gardner," which is our arrival. This is our proper letter format. And then they just get started. "Hello, my name is," and then they put their name, "and I'm a freshman at Pomona High School. I would like to bring a major issue to your attention. This issue is affecting many countries and states, including Colorado. The issue I would like to bring up is plastic." So let's talk about a couple things. That first line is super good because they're polite at the beginning. They introduce themselves, and they let them know who they are, a little bit about themselves. They say they're a freshman at Pomona High School. That's all really good. We're kind of easing the reader in. And then they bring their attention to this issue. And right here, this is the issue statement. They're saying the issue is plastic. But that is not their thesis. They're just bringing up the issue. "This everyday item is killing many species in both the land and the ocean, and one of those species is us. So I would like to request a ban on plastic in Colorado, not just to save us, but to save the rest of the world." So that right there is their statement, their thesis statement. They give a solution. They say, this is what I would like to do to solve the problem. We got to ban plastic in Colorado, and we're going to save the world if we're able to do that. So then we go on to their body paragraphs, and this is where they start to present their research. So this small but surprisingly heavy killer is sinking its way down into the vast and unfamiliar depths of the ocean where new life is yet to be found. According to an article on CNN Wire, now that's really interesting because as you can see here, they have a hyperlink. And on this letter, instead of putting in-text citations and then a works cited page down at the bottom, we are going to use hyper citations. And later on, I'm going to do a mini lesson that teaches you how to do hyper citations. But essentially what they've done is they've linked their article And I can't actually click on it, but in the actual document, you can click on it and it will go to the actual article. That's called a hypercitation. You'll notice, though, that they are only hyperlinking the stuff that deals with the article. So instead of hyperlinking this whole statement or hyperlinking the quote or something like that, they're just hyperlinking an article on CNN Wire, right? That's it. Because that's what that takes you to that. So it's an article on CNN Wire. You click on it, it takes you to that article on CNN Wire. Victor Vescovo journeyed 10,927 meters to the bottom of the Challenger Deep. Vescovo observed a plastic bag and candy wrappers at the deepest point on the planet. So here we have some credibility claims, right? They are using this expert's name to build credibility, and that's ethos. And then they give some facts, which is logos down here. They found wrappers at the deepest port of the ocean. Our devastating footprint is so huge that you can find it over 3,500 feet down in unexplored areas of the ocean. We humans are killing creatures that we don't even know exist because of all the plastic we use carelessly on a day-to-day basis. So this is their analysis, 2 sentence worth, and they are just explaining how this quote from CNN Wire connects to their overall point, their solution. Then they go ahead and just keep going, right? The article goes on to state, so we have another prep. The team discovered 4 new species that could offer clues about the origins of life on Earth. The team said its scientists were going to perform tests on the creatures found to determine the percentage of plastics found in them. Now you'll notice here they have the team discovered and then these dots in brackets. And what that's showing us is that they are taking things out of the quote. And so they use brackets to show where they've changed things or they've taken things out of the quote. And then we have some more analysis. There are many questions about where we came from, and if we continue to use plastic, it will kill our answers. Also, if this is affecting the animals down at the deepest points of the ocean, imagine how much this is affecting the creatures closer to the ocean. And then we have another paragraph where we're going to give more research. Moreover, this is a great transition, right? And so remember that you have to transition into each paragraph. You can't just throw it in our face. The plastic is breaking down in the oceans because of the sun, and they are being formed into small bits. In an opinion column in the Washington Post, see another hypercitation right there, it said that National Geographic reports that the iconic Great Pacific Garbage Patch, also known as the Pacific Trash Vortex, is really more of a soup of small plastic particles the sun has broken down. So here they use the name of the National Geographic, which adds also, once again, credibility. So they're using a credible source. And you'll see throughout the entirety of their letter, they're using credible sources, which then lends credibility, lends ethos to the author. These tiny pieces of plastic are called microplastics, and they are poisonous to aquatic life and us. How this works is that fish and seabirds think that the microplastics are food. For fish, the plastic doesn't just stay in their stomachs, they sink into their skin. So when we consume them, the plastics and toxins are being transferred to our bodies. So there's some more analysis right there talking about why this is a problem. Then we have another prep for quote. Also in that same Washington Post article, it states, and then they use brackets again, most comes from land, bottles, cups, bags. The sun breaks these items down, but they do not really biodegrade. Instead, they enter the animals' bodies, killing the animals immediately or entering marine food chains. And so we have some really good quotes there. And these microplastics also block sunlight from supporting plankton and other backbone ecosystem species. This is an extreme issue because plankton soak up carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide is heating up the earth. So this means that plankton are keeping the climate from heating up. So there's some more analysis right there. In an article by Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, it emphasizes the importance of plankton. So remember, if you see, the hypercitation is just on the source, not the whole prep for the quote. Phytoplankton are mostly microscopic, single-celled photosynthetic organisms that live suspended in water. Like land plants, they take up carbon dioxide, make carbohydrates using light energy, and release oxygen. But this is becoming harder to do because the microplastics are killing the plankton and blocking off light. So we've seen that this author has done really good with all of their quotes. Everything that they've been giving to us is really credible stuff. And they're using a lot of logos because they're giving us facts. And so far, it's been pretty much all logos and ethos. They're building up this case and showing that they're credible because they know what they're talking about. They've done their research. And if that wasn't enough, that's a really great transition. I really like that transition. The microplastics in the ocean are killing lungworms. Although they have an unusual name and they look funny too, their blood is actually good for us. Lorraine Bossoniult in an article for Hakai magazine states, so they hyper cited that whole thing, right? Except for the states, because they're giving you the name of the lady, they're saying it's an article, and the name of the magazine so that you can hyperlink all of that stuff. The lungworm is a universal donor. Its blood doesn't have any of the A, B, or O antigens that give human blood its type. This is very important for us because if we happen to run out of a blood type in a hospital, having lungworm blood would really make a difference. But this won't be possible soon because the lungworms are dying because they mistake the microplastics for food. But the dying lungworms aren't just affecting us, they are affecting the aquatic food chain. This is because they are a main food source for fish and birds, but the toxins caused by the plastic is killing the fish and birds that eat them. So here, the author adds in a little pathos because it's this whole like, oh no, if we don't have the lungworms, we're all going to die, which is an emotional response, right? An emotional appeal. So they're trying to add in just a little bit of that emotional appeal right at the end. Now, this second to last paragraph is where they're going to present their solution. And they have a really great transition here. I believe that I have presented a convincing case to show you how plastic is affecting our life and the life of other species we share the planet with. In the article by Plastic Oceans, we are producing over 300 million tons of plastic every year, 50% of which is for single-use purposes, utilized for just a few moments, but is on the planet for at least several hundred years. They give a statistic here, which is logos. More than 8 million tons of plastic is dumped into our oceans every year. Another statistic, more logos. We need to be more conscious when it comes to plastics and other types of non-biodegradable trash. I propose that the state of Colorado should ban all plastic. Now that's their solution, because you don't want to just give them the problem. You need to give them a solution. You want to give them an idea of what we can do to solve the problem. Maybe if we took the first step by banning plastic, then it would be a good example and help us move towards a worldwide solution. This is getting worse, and soon we will not be able to do anything. So in conclusion, that's another transition, not a great one, but it's just okay. We should have similar laws, if not the same laws as California. This would also help our budget because plastic costs $23.90 per pound, $23.90 per pound, and we could easily use that money we would save somewhere else. Not making changes would be catastrophic. So that's another emotional appeal right there. So please consider the proposal of the ban on plastic. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to read this letter. I like that they end with this thank you statement. It's really polite, really, really good. And then they end with their proper letter format. So they give a salutation at the end, a departure, sincerely. And then in the original letter, they provided their student name, their student email, and their phone number. Give your name and your contact info. And that is really good, letter format too, really polite. So you'll go ahead and if you need to look at my copy of this, it's linked in the assignment in Google Classroom. And just make sure that all of your annotations on here match my annotations and then go ahead and turn it in. And that is the first mentor text. This is what a persuasive letter looks like. And this one was really good. It got an A. All right. So go ahead and finish that up and turn it in, and then we'll see you later.